Beginning. The palace of Aurelian was carved from living crystal, its walls grown rather than built, each facet shimmering with the colors of distant suns. Light flowed through it like water through coral reefs, bending and splitting into spectral halos that hovered above polished floors. To most visitors, it was breathtaking. To me, it felt like standing inside a gemstone that could shatter with a single misstep. I stood in the Hall of Concordance, a circular chamber large enough to house a fleet hangar. Floating banners of dozens of star systems hovered overhead, each displaying sigils of ancient civilizations, young empires, and neutral guilds. Representatives from across the spiral arm-filled tiered balconies, avian diplomats perched on chrome rails, silicon entities projected as shimmering fractals, insectoid monarchs wrapped in ceremonial cloaks of woven silk and light. And at the center, on a levitating dais of woven gold and antimatter, sat Queen Veloria of Aurelian. She was younger than I expected. Her species, the Aurelians, were tall and luminous, with skin that glowed faintly like moonlit glass and eyes that reflected everything they saw. Veloria wore a crown of orbiting gemstones, each one a captured star spark, and her expression carried the casual arrogance of someone who had never known defeat. I was not there as a conqueror or a diplomat of power. I was a human envoy, one of the last from a species most of the galaxy considered obsolete, or at best irrelevant. Humanity had burned bright and then fractured, our great interstellar ambitions collapsing under internal wars and alien pressures. Now, we were a footnote, a curiosity. But I had been invited for a reason. The council had convened to debate whether to open the Perseus frontier, a chaotic region of space haunted by ancient machines, rogue warlords, and phenomena that swallowed ships whole. Most empires had tried and failed to tame it. Now Aurelian wished to claim it, and they wanted someone who had survived its wars. That someone was me. My name is Aaron Cole, former commander of the United Terran Expeditionary Forces, now a civilian consultant with more scars than medals. I wore a simple black uniform without insignia. The past had stripped me of ranks and flags. All I carried was memory. Veloria leaned forward, resting her chin on one glowing hand. "So," she said, her voice amplified across the hall, musical and cold. "You are the human veteran they insisted we consult. You look ordinary." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Aurelians valued spectacle. Humans rarely provided it. "I am ordinary," I replied. My voice sounded too small in that vast chamber. "That's how I survived." She laughed softly, a sound like glass chimes. "Survival is not victory. Tell me, human, how many battles have you fought? Truly fought, not simulations or skirmishes with pirates." I met her gaze. 28 wars. The hall froze. Every banner stilled. Every whisper died. Even the AI fractals halted their shimmering computations. 28 wars was not a number spoken lightly. Most species considered a single interstellar war a generational trauma. 28 meant a lifetime spent inside fire. Veloria's expression shifted, not to fear, but to curiosity sharpened by something like unease. "Wars," she repeated, tasting the word. "Plural." "Yes." "Then enlighten us, Commander Cole," she said. "What makes a species fight 28 wars and still stand before me?" I inhaled slowly. Hope, pride, fear, and stubbornness. Middle. They gave me the floor. A hovering platform carried me closer to the dais, projecting my image across the chamber. I felt naked under the scrutiny of 100 civilizations. Humanity was never meant to be peaceful. I began. We evolved on a death world where everything tried to kill us. Storms, predators, microbes, each other. War was our teacher long before we reached the stars. Images bloomed in the air, Earth's blue oceans, then cities burning, soldiers in trenches, spacecraft launching under fire. I had provided the council with archives, And now they played them like a living documentary. Our first interstellar war was with ourselves, I continued. Colonies fought Earth, corporations fought governments, ideologies fought reality. We learned that victory is temporary, but survival is cumulative. Valoria's eyes narrowed. And the other wars? Contact wars, I said. Misunderstandings. Resource conflicts. Border skirmishes that spiraled into genocides. Some enemies wanted land. Others wanted our biology. A few just wanted to test if we were worth keeping alive. The hall watched footage of alien fleets clashing, human ships burning, worlds shattered. Some delegates turned away. Others leaned closer. One war, I said, my voice lowering, was against a machine intelligence older than your civilization. It sterilized entire systems. We stopped it by detonating a star with our own people still evacuating its orbit. That was War 13. Silence pressed against my ears. War 17, I continued, was against ourselves again, when half of humanity decided cybernetic transcendence required deleting biological humans. We won by reminding them what it felt like to lose. Valoria studied me with new intensity. You speak of war as if it is familiar. Comfortable. It's not comfortable, I corrected. It's habitual. War becomes the climate you live in. Peace becomes the anomaly. Aurelian delegates whispered among themselves. Their empire had known only 2 wars in its recorded history, both distant and brief. Their culture revolved around art, philosophy, and long-term planning. They had never needed desperation. Why did you stop at 28? Because after the 28th, humanity fractured beyond repair, I said. We won the war but lost the species. Empires collapsed. Earth declared neutrality and isolation. Colonies became independent microstates. We survived, but not as one people. The images shifted to abandoned megacities, drifting habitats, quiet stars. And you? She asked quietly. I retired. There was nothing left to defend. For a moment, Valoria's arrogance faltered. She was a queen of a unified, confident empire. I was a relic of something that had burned itself out. She straightened. The Perseus frontier will be ours, she declared. Aurelian will not fracture. We are not humans. Neither were we, I said. A stir ran through the hall. Her gaze sharpened. Are you warning me, Commander Cole? I'm warning everyone, I said. Perseus is not a place you conquer once. It is a place that teaches you how many wars you are willing to fight before you forget why you started. She considered this, then gestured. Show me something useful, human. Words or shadows. Give me a lesson. The council authorized me to present tactical simulations. The chamber transformed into a 3-dimensional holographic battlefield. The Perseus frontier, mapped from decades of probes and lost expeditions. Star systems flickered like wounds. Anomalies glowed like tumors. Pirate kingdoms and ancient relic fleets drifted through like sharks. Here is where your first war will begin, I said, pointing to a binary star system. Aurelian will send explorers. They will disappear. You will send a fleet. They will find wreckage and enemies. I simulated Aurelian standard doctrine. Elegant formations. Energy shields optimized for minimal damage. Fleets designed for deterrence rather than annihilation. The simulation destroyed them in minutes. Gasps filled the hall. Perseus does not respect elegance, I said. It respects redundancy, brutality, and adaptation. I alter the simulation, applying human doctrines, decentralized command, overlapping kill zones, sacrificial drones, ships designed to keep fighting after losing half their systems. The Aurelian delegates watched their elegant fleets replaced with crude, heavily armored constructs. The outcome changed. The simulated Aurelian forces survived. Valoria leaned forward, her expression no longer mocking. You propose we become like you? I propose you learn from us, I said. You don't need 28 wars. You need one good lesson before the first. She dismissed the simulation and stood. The hull followed, a sea of rising figures. You claim experience, she said. Experience demands proof. Walk with me. The dais descended, and she stepped onto the floor beside me. Up close, her glow was brighter, her presence overwhelming. She was a star-given shape. They escorted us to the palace memory vault, a restricted archive where the Aurelians stored their historical consciousness. There, they could experience recorded memories as if they were their own. I will witness one of your wars, Vealoria said. If you are exaggerating, your reputation ends here. I nodded. Choose any. She selected War 23, the siege of Helios Bastion. The vault activated, and reality dissolved. Suddenly, we stood on the bridge of a human battleship. Alarm screamed. Hull plating ruptured. Alien projectiles carved through armor. I saw myself, young, exhausted, screaming orders, knowing half my crew was already dead. Vealoria staggered as the memory enveloped her. She felt the terror, the heat, the vibration of engines pushed beyond design limits. She felt the moment I ordered the ship to ram an enemy dreadnought because our weapons had failed. She felt the impact, the death, the silence. The memory ended. She collapsed to one knee in the vault. Aurelian attendants rushed forward, but she waved them away. Her glow dimmed. Is this all of them? She whispered. Different details, I said. Same themes. She looked up at me, her eyes no longer reflective glass, but something darker. How did you not break? I did, I said. Repeatedly. Humanity is good at breaking and continuing anyway. The council reconvened that night. Vealoria did not mock me again. Instead, she asked questions. How to maintain morale when victory is impossible. How to fight enemies that cannot be reasoned with. How to prevent a civilization from devouring itself in fear. I answered all of them. And slowly, the Hall began to understand why 28 wars had frozen them. Ending. The decision came 3 days later. Aurelian would enter Perseus, but not as conquerors. They would enter as students of war, guided by human doctrine, tempered by alien wisdom, and supervised by a coalition of smaller species who feared what Perseus could awaken. Queen Vealoria summoned me one last time before the fleets launched. We stood on a balcony overlooking the palace gardens, where bioluminescent plants pulsed in synchronized rhythms, mimicking the heartbeats of the city. Above us, Aurelian's armada assembled, sleek ships, now reinforced with human-inspired redundancies, drones, and brutal efficiency. You changed my empire, she said quietly. I gave you a mirror, I replied. She watched the fleets. You humans are terrifying. Not because we fight, I said. Because we remember. She turned to me. If Perseus becomes our 29th war, will we survive it? I consider the stars, the scars in the sky where civilizations had risen and fallen. Yes, I said. If you remember why you're fighting. She extended her hand, her light warm and steady. Then stay. Teach us. Be our war historian, our nightmare storyteller, our reminder of what we must never become. I took her hand. I don't teach nightmares. I teach survival. The fleets jumped to hyperspace, leaving streaks of light across the void. In the Hall of Concordance, the banners fluttered again, but something had changed. The galaxy had heard the number 28 wars and understood that humanity was not a relic. We were a warning. And as Aurelian's ships vanished into Perseus, Queen Vealoria whispered a quiet vow, no longer to her court, but to the memory of a species that had burned itself into legend. We will not need 28, she said. We will learn from the first.